Hey guys, it's Nicole and today I'll be making a video on changing my course and how to do it, how I did it, my experience and all of that. I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time, but I kept putting it off because I think it's quite a heavy topic. But I hope this video will be helpful for whoever in the future who wants to change course. It's definitely a very viable option. Don't beat yourself up for having to change course, you know. But yes, more words of encouragement later. This is gonna be like the rough outline for this video, so you can skip to the parts that are more relevant for you. So first I'll be talking about personally why I changed my course, followed by how to transfer the process and how to transfer my personal statements, the one that I used for computer science and the one that I used when I transferred, and how to transfer my experience, as well as some words of encouragement just to encourage. So first, just for a little background and self-introduction, I was a computer science student. I studied information technology in poly, so I think that made me think that computer science was just the natural progression, the next step in further education, since IT and comp science are so related. But I realized that the kind of work that I did in poly was very different from what I was doing in computer science. Like, if you look at my previous vlogs, I was so visibly miserable, whereas now I'm feeling a lot better after changing to communications and new media. And because what I wanted to do in the future was related to CNM, I felt a lot more reassured to make that change in course. So that's just a little background to why I changed courses. So how to transfer the process. First and foremost, please take note of the transfer dates. There are two transfer application periods. So there's one during the semester itself. I'm still a year 1 student, so I applied during semester 1 for the transfer to take effect in semester 2. Some people transfer after an entire first year in uni, and that's completely fine as well. So there's an application period during the semester. So if this is sem 1, there's like a window of application period, so you can take note of those dates and just send in your application. There's also another application date after results come out after the first semester. So if this is your first semester and then you have your results day afterwards, you can apply right after you get your results as well, which is helpful, but it's very rushed. So administrative matters may take a while and it may be a little confusing. Because I transferred from a different faculty to a different faculty, communication was really tough. Like, there wasn't much communication between the two faculties, so I had to email both sides to make sure I managed to get the modules that I was supposed to get for the next semester. So all these things need to be taken into account, but first and foremost, take note of the application dates and send in your application. So when it comes to the application process, it's very much like applying into NUS again. You still have your documents, you have your application fee, you have to write your personal statement and all of that. Speaking of personal statements, that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. So my personal statement for computer science was very focused on the skills that I acquired during poly. I'm talking about the projects that I did and all of that, why I was interested in computer science, and just really wanting to understand more of the technologies that I was accustomed to using. I wanted to know how they were made. Turns out I did not want to know how they were made. It was evidently a lot more complicated than I anticipated. But anyway, the focus for my personal statement when I was transferring is more about why I wanted to make the change. So I talked a bit about why computer science wasn't for me, basically how it's not what I thought it would be, like mainly all the math and things like that. Then I talked a little more about my interests and what I knew I was better at. So some things are like the creative stuff, like YouTube and video editing, content creation, things like that. I found that that's something that I thoroughly enjoy, and that led me to choose this new course, Communications and New Media. I also talked a bit about my career goals and what I wanted to do in the future, and how computer science could have gotten me there, but this new course that I'm transferring into could also get me to where I wanted to be. So I thought I put across quite a strong argument to why I should be accepted into the new course that I'm transferring to. But also, I do want to point out that when it comes to transferring course, it's a lot easier. to transfer from a course that is harder to get into a course that is easier to get into, especially if you're a first year student where your grades are like still not solidified and stable. Like at that point when I was applying for my transfer, I didn't even get my grades yet, and because of that, I think the administration office really looked at my poly grades, or for JC students I guess it'd be your A-level grades. So because my poly grades could have gotten me into the course that I was transferring to anyway, I think that's why they just let me go in pretty smoothly, pretty quickly. So because I did well in poly to get into computer science, transferring into CNM was relatively smooth. So yeah, that's it for my personal statements. Now on to my experience. So I talked a bit about the administration side of things, like how it was really tough to communicate with 2 different faculties to make sure that I got the modules that I wanted and I needed, because when you log into the websites where you need to apply for your modules and all of that, even though I got accepted into the new course, I was still seeing my computer science modules allocated to me. I think during that period the school is super busy, so things may be a bit slower to update. Just make sure you contact the right people when you notice something that is a bit strange. I got my modules in time in the end after contacting the relevant people, so everything worked out in the end. But I guess I wanted to talk a bit more about transferring as a whole. So I guess this could fall under just some words of encouragement. You know, transferring from computer science to a course or a faculty that is stereotypically known to be like, you know, artsy and like low paying jobs and things like that, I think originally it did hit me a bit, just seeing things like how much computer science students are paid. Just seeing these statistics alone just made me feel a little sad or a little dejected and demoralized that you know, that could have been my future. I could have been in a high-paying job. I could have held on to the prestige that is NUS computer science, 8th in the world or something like that. But I think I really had to remind myself that computer science was killing me. It was a really tough and painful time. I would come out of every exam in tears, crying on the way back to CAP and things like that. So it really wasn't healthy, and I am ultimately really glad that I made the change. So if you are a student in whichever faculty, wherever you are, if you are really struggling and you see that there's something better for you, I hope you really think hard about it and consider if it's gonna be a lot better for you in the long run. It's honestly really common transferring courses, so I hope you don't beat yourself up for it. I hope you're not too hard on yourself. So if you're really thinking about changing courses, I think the main thing is to really figure out what you want to do in the future and see if the route that you're on, the path that you're on, can lead you there. If it can and you're still functioning, then by all means you should probably stay in that course since you've already done so much. But if it's tough and you see another option, then you can consider that. Another thing that I did was I kind of made a list of things for each course, like the course that I was in and the course that I wanted to transfer into. So like reasons for computer science, reasons for communications and new media, and I felt like this really helped put things into perspective. So that's something else you could consider doing. And just some things that I would love to tell my younger self: don't choose a major or course just because of money. That's an honest motivation, but if money is the only thing keeping you in a course that is very challenging, I think it's gonna be pretty tough. Also, back to comparison, I think I would tell myself that you don't have to be good at everything. You know, everyone is learning at their own pace, and I think I've really come to accept that now. But back then maybe I was still a bit more competitive and worried about where I was in comparison to everyone else. So that's something I would tell myself. And also, I just want to reassure you or my younger self that you are not stupid. Oh my gosh, if I could tell my younger self something, my younger self struggling in computer science, I would tell her that you're not stupid, you're not incompetent, you're just a winter flower planted in a desert or something. Like, it was the environment that probably wasn't good for you as a winter flower. Like, maybe certain environments are better for different people, but for me it wasn't the best, and I'm honestly a lot happier now. So I'm really glad that I made the change and things worked out. I think I'm in a much better headspace. And I'm just really very thankful for everything, and I hope that my experience is able to encourage or help some people out there who are planning to change course as well. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer. Otherwise, you can contact NUS. I'm pretty sure they're gonna know so much more than me. Like, I'm just giving you some of my advice. So I guess that is all for this video. It wasn't very interesting or exciting. I just really wanted to make this video to, once again, like I mentioned, help people or encourage people who may be thinking about transferring, because I found it hard to find materials or just recounts of people transferring. So I hope this video can be a little helpful. Yeah, so that is all for this video. I pray that you stay safe, happy, and healthy wherever you are. Bye!